Tobe Hooper's The Funhouse is the hellfest we should have gotten. The Funhouse stars Elizabeth Berry's Largo Woodruff and is directed by Tobe Hooper. What's up, guys? Welcome to a brand new review. I haven't recorded, it feels like in 2 weeks. Because usually what I do is I batch record. I'll do like 3 recordings at a time and then I edit. And when I'm done editing, then I record again. And so I think it's been like 2 weeks since I recorded. So it's kind of weird. But today we're doing a patron requested review for actually a good friend and military brother of mine, Jeffrey Hamilton. Me and Jeff actually served together when we were stationed over at Moody Air Force Base. And I have so many great fond memories of working alongside him, and just a very intelligent person, military-minded person, and a good friend. But more importantly, he is a horror fan, and he suggested I do The Funhouse, which is a movie I barely even have heard of, and it's directed by Tobe Hooper. It's one of those that just kind of slipped through the cracks for me. I've never seen The Funhouse before. So I decided this weekend, you know what, I'm going to throw in The Funhouse. I feel like I'm ready to watch The Funhouse, and I threw it in. And if you remember, I recently reviewed Hellfest, and Hellfest surprisingly was rated R, but it feels like a PG-13 movie. And there was just so much lacking in Hellfest in the horror department that I wanted. The Funhouse, thankfully, is what Hellfest should have strived for. We're going to get into a lot of reasons why I love this movie, actually. And it surprised me because at face value, even if you look at the trailer for it, it looks cheesy. And there is some cheese in there. I mean, this is 81. And by the way, freaking 1981 is a fantastic year for horror. So many classics came out in 81. And The Funhouse happens to be a classic. So anyway, first off, this will be a spoiler review. This is a 1981 movie, so if you haven't seen The Funhouse, you might not want to watch this if you don't like spoilers. But even if you do watch it, it's still a fun-ass movie. It's not really like a whodunit type of movie at all. But anyway, let's start at the beginning. Beginning of the movie, our main character, Amy, she is taking a shower. And all of a sudden, we see a very memorable camera angle. It is Halloween. And it's so much like Halloween that immediately I was thinking, oh, okay, Tobe Hooper is actually paying homage to Halloween. But then it turns into like an homage to Psycho. So you got these two things. I mean, even in Halloween, there's like the mask that pops up and all that. And, you know, the horror fan in me and the Halloween fan in me and the Psycho fan in me was freaking jumping for joy. This was a pretty awesome little start to the movie. Nice little homage. And Halloween had come out like 3 years before this. So I guess by this time it was already considered like the immortal classic. But we find out that the little brother is playing tricks. And Amy is really pissed off. And so it's just a fun little way to start the movie out. But really the main story is Amy and her friend Liz and these two guys, they go to this funhouse, this carnival. It's traveling carnival. And the backstory on this is that there were these killings that happened in one of the other cities that it came to. And they know this, but the boys are like, you know, who cares? You know, we're teenagers. Why go to a carnival if you can't have some fun, a sense of danger? And so they go there anyway. And so once they get there, really what kicks this thing into high gear, the owner of this whole thing, you know, this is another one of those Tobe Hooper family horror movies like The Sawyers. His son is, he's wearing this Frankenstein mask. So right at the beginning, we don't know what his son looks like. But we know that he has mental issues. And, you know, we wouldn't be surprised if it was incest, if it was bestiality. You know, who knows what goes on in these carnies. You know, they're very strange folk, but they make for great horror movies. But the son is, you know, he's wanting to have a little fun with the gypsy prostitute. And he relieves himself way too quickly. And so that's kind of what starts this whole thing into motion. He ends up killing the gypsy. But when he kills the gypsy prostitute, our 4 young adolescents, they see below what's going on. And so now this becomes a slasher movie. So it's kind of a hybrid. It's like a creature feature and a slasher movie. Because once that mask comes off, we see exactly what this killer looks like. And it's pretty crazy. Now, first off, we'll talk about Tobe Hooper because, you know, I recently watched Poltergeist again, like last October. And I forget how great Poltergeist is. And I know there's this whole controversy about whether Spielberg actually directed most of the movie, how much of the movie Tobe Hooper directed. But watching this movie, I do see a little bit of that Poltergeist influence in this, even though this came out way before Poltergeist. I see some similarities in directing style with this and Poltergeist. So I definitely think Tobe Hooper had a hand in Poltergeist. And I've often heard people say that, you know, Rob Zombie should direct Texas Chainsaw Massacre movies. And yes, I agree with that character-wise. But from a script standpoint, Tobe Hooper is miles better than Rob Zombie. I mean, if you look at his movies, there is that little bit of Southern fried horror flavor there, but there's a lot of talent there too. Tobe Hooper knows how to put a movie together. He knows how to light a set. He knows how to tell a story. He knows how to put a script together. You know, the guy. There's a reason why when we mention great horror directors, we mention Tobe Hooper among, you know, the greats like John Carpenter, like Wes Craven, like Romero. Tobe Hooper earned that right. You know, if you watch his movies, the guy knows what he's doing. He's a great horror filmmaker. He's a great filmmaker, period. Now, one thing I love about the Funhouse, first off, is it really settles into the story, into that whole, like, carnival lifestyle before it really kicks into high gear. You know, you got these different booths. This one's like, it's all like these naked girls, these strippers, which is weird. I don't remember having those at my carnival. Then you got the ones that's got like these freaks and these animals. You even have a cow there that's got like this cleft palate. There's also a two-headed cow there. So, you know, he settles you into the world before he kicks off the horror. And by the way, those strippers were real, authentic Miami strippers, you know, and I think you'll be able to tell that when you watch that. Read into that statement as you will. But Tobe Hooper did not go for Playboy Playmates in this movie. These people look real. They look like they belong in a traveling carnival. Now, also, as far as like dealing with chaos in terms of characters, you know, characters really like losing their shit. Think back to Sally in the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. In that third act of that movie, she is going completely bonkers. And it's one of the most memorable horror performances I think I've ever seen. It really just stands out amongst all other final girls. If you give Sally something, you got to give her that. I mean, she really projects in that scene. And I think you have to give Tobe Hooper some credit for that. I don't know what he does, but there's something that he does that really elicits an emotion from his actors. Because Amy, our final girl in this movie, reminded me a lot of Sally. The last act of this movie just goes completely off the rails. It is bonkers. And a lot of that is accented by Amy's performance. You know, you really feel like this is a person in like sheer danger. And Tobe Hooper, you know, I guess he had a knack for pulling that out of his actors. But, you know, pacing wise in this movie, it is kind of a slow burn. But then once it kicks into high gear, when those young people see the son, you know, kill that gypsy prostitute, that's when this movie does not let up at all. And let me tell you, in terms of kills, the first kill is probably my favorite because, you know, everybody's freaking out and they're in the middle of this carnival. It's very well lit. And all of a sudden this rope comes down, he pulls the guy up and he's hanged. And so we think, okay, that's the first kill. And then later, Tobe Hooper does a great job of actually, I guess, squeezing all the juice out of a kill that you possibly can, because the guy is in one of these carts and he's coming forward and they don't know that it's their friend. And so the guy takes an axe and puts it in the guy's head. So it's like a 1-2 punch. Even though the guy's already dead, it's still great to see him get an axe in his head. Another great kill that really reminded me of Alien in the way it was lit was Liz and the fan kill. Just visually speaking, that scene is so striking. She's sitting in this like utility area with this fan and you got that strobe light going. Like I said, you're really going to get Alien vibes from this particular scene. And then, you know, slowly the killer is coming towards her. And then she stabs him in the back, but, you know, he's like this mongoloid creature with super strength, and he doesn't die, and he kills her. Now, the father in this movie is actually interesting, too. There is this scene where he kind of breaks down, you know, it's really emotional. He's thinking about, you know, his son and you know, this life that they have led together and what his son has come to be. You know, and by the way, we're never really told who the kid's mother is, you know, which makes it interesting. It makes you wonder, could this kid's mother be one of the cows? If you look at his face, you know, his face is like split apart like the two-headed cow. So it could be. But the father, played by Kevin Conroy, he actually played like 3 of the Barkers in this movie. And I think, and the father as well. So he played like 4 parts. Or maybe the father was a Barker, I'm not sure. But really good actor, actually. You know, he did like 3 different performances for these characters. Really, and the last thing I got to highlight about the Funhouse is just that whole sense of chaos. You know, this feels like a Tobe Hooper movie through and through. It just has his stamp on it. And like I said, that last act is so good in this. The kills are great, but the kills are accented by just this sense of chaos. I think that's what Tobe Hooper carries forward that a lot of directors don't. And I think this is what Rob Zombie like strives to be. I hate to, you know, to knock Rob Zombie. I love a couple of Rob Zombie's movies. I think he's a very talented director. But is he a Tobe Hooper? Not a chance. So anyway, guys, I'm going to give this movie a super high purchase worthy. It might be a little dated a bit, but you know me, I love my 80s slashers. And this is kind of the best of both worlds because it's a slasher, but it's also like this creature feature. And I was surprised by it. I loved it so much because I rented it on Amazon. I'll put an Amazon affiliate link below so you can rent it or you can buy it, because I'm going to buy the Scream Factory release after watching this. It's definitely one that I'll rewatch over and over. If I'm in the mood to watch like a carnival horror movie, this will be my first go-to. Also, if you want a Drums Crow t-shirt, go to the Drumdums store and you can get one. So anyway, guys, post in the comments your thoughts on the Funhouse. Looking forward to hearing them. Thank you, Jeff Hamilton, for suggesting this one. Also, be sure to come over to Killer Flicks, where we talk horror all day and every day. And on Fridays, we do Free For All Fridays. If you like what I'm doing, hit that subscribe button. I'd really appreciate it. Anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching. Have a great day, and Drumdum out.